In this video, we're going to be talking about touchscreen joystick control. Now, I've been told off by a psychologist for saying things that are different to the words on the screen. So I'm doing it right now because there are lots of words on the screen and I'm talking to you and you don't know what to focus on. So when I read the outcome from slides in the future, I'm going to read them verbatim, and I'd be interested in your response in the discussions as to if that's easier. So here we go. In this video, using the mobile single stick control prefab, creating a button to trigger the replay, a little more about UI anchors, and building to Android and testing performance. There you go. I read it exactly as it said. So here we are in the game. What I want to do firstly is talk to you about this mobile single stick control prefab and how all that stuff works. So if you dive into standard assets, cross-platform input, and prefabs, you should find this thing here, mobile single stick control prefab. Drag that into your hierarchy. Now, if your build settings are PC, like this, Mac, Linux, this won't actually put any user interface or do anything to your game particularly. It'll just sit there as a prefab. Here it is. So one thing that these prefabs need before they're going to work is a event manager. So if you haven't already got an event manager, add one. And if you have already got an event manager, then you can add one anyway. It just won't do anything. So if you already have one and you try and add a second, nothing happens. By event manager, I mean event system. So this event system, of course, processes input. So with that event system in place, what happens is if you switch your project to a mobile project, so in this case, I'm going to switch mine over to Android now, and I'm going to switch platform. Then that prefab contains some user interface. It contains a little picture of a joystick, and it contains a jump button. So what we're going to do is we're going to make the joystick work like the left stick of the gamepad or the cursor keys on the keyboard. And we're going to make the button, or one of the buttons at least, do the replay. I just want to show you how you would use off-the-shelf mobile control prefab like this, and it's pretty handy. So it's doing it. My switch platform takes a while. It's going to take a while on this project because you've got all of these standard assets, and what it's having to do now is go through all those standard assets and recompile all the images into formats that are appropriate for the target platform, and to check that they're all the right type and that they're all okay for that platform. It's just got a lot of conversion work to do. But you only have to do it once each time you change target build platform. Another clever thing about this mobile single stick control thingy is that if you switch back to Mac, PC, Linux, this interface that has appeared here, this button and this joystick, they will disappear again. So they'll only appear when it's an appropriate platform. Pretty cool, hey? So we have this on the screen now. So the question becomes, how do we make this actually control our game? Well, let's start by just trying it without even doing anything. What happens? Well, it just works. And in this case, that's because if you look at this joystick, this mobile joystick object in your hierarchy, and then scroll down in the inspector, you can see that it's already mapping horizontal movement of the joystick to the horizontal axis, the axis named horizontal in the input manager over here. Okay, so that's why it's just working off the shelf, but you can remap that to do different things. Now, vertical movement, of course, won't do anything because we have no vertical axes responding to anything in the game at the moment. It looks like it's doing something, but that's only because I'm moving left and right horizontally. And what does this white button do at the moment? What does this button do? Boing, it does the jump. Fantastic. So the reason it does the jump, I'm just going to move it slightly, by the way, in the UI configuration mode. I'm going to go in here and just move this button around a little. So when you move the button, look at all the different elements. Here, what am I moving? It's worth thinking about what's actually moving there. Well, it's the rect transform of the button, yeah, of the text element of the button. So that's where it would say the word jump if it did. So you want to make sure in the hierarchy you've got the right thing selected. So now I'm moving the entire button. But notice I'm not moving its anchors. You see its anchors have stayed where they are. So I just want to talk to you very briefly about these anchors. You can start to manipulate these manually now you know a bit more about Unity. Just grab, rather than using these presets that just set these anchors anyway, you can grab these and say, well, basically, you're saying to this button, this is the area on the screen I want you to stay in, something like that. Yeah, so if you put it like that, and then you go over the canvas at the edge here and drag, you see it says the word preview, and that's showing you how this button would rescale as you change the resolution of the device. Now, if you don't want that, say you don't want it to scale vertically, then you just bring the anchors together vertically like that, and then it no longer scales vertically, it just anchors to that point. If you wanted to anchor to a lower point and not rescale, then again you would go to the anchors of the button, make sure you've got the right thing up, and you would grab them. It can be a bit tricky, and you'd move them. So if you said, well, I want it absolutely, 10% of the way off the bottom of the screen here, but I don't want it to rescale vertically, then it's all a little fiddly. But that's exactly what you can do with these anchors. So you can say, okay, don't rescale vertically and sit 10% off the bottom of the screen, as indicated by the 10% you can just see at the bottom of the game window, or the scene window. So let's try that. Let's do a preview by going left and right. It rescales horizontally, but it doesn't rescale vertically. Now, if you want it to not rescale horizontally, of course, you bring the anchor points together horizontally. Cool, so that's something about anchor points and also about previewing the effects of screen shape changes without actually having to go into the game view or even change the game view. Fantastic, so what I would like you to do is see if you can work out how to make this button, rather than jump for now, see if you can make it create the replay. So I'm going to change its text to replay, and see if you can make it actually trigger the replay. All right, so your challenge is set up a replay button. Make a replay button, we've already got one, or make another one. Choose a relevant sprite. You may need to rotate the sprite. Test the button triggers the replay. Congratulations and welcome back. So sprite firstly, let's just change the look of this button. Now bear in mind that all buttons are just images with a text element sub to them. So if you go to the jump button bit here, I'm going to rename it replay as an entity just so I know what I'm doing. And then under the source image of the button, the top element, not the text element, you go, of course, and choose yourself from this little list that will come up, if we're lucky. If we click to the right of source image, we should get select sprites come up on my other screen. And I'm going to use, I don't know, say that button there. Now, I said we may need to resize it and reshape it. That's true. I'm going to do that and then probably rotate it as well through the, which axis? It's going to be Z, because it's sticking out the screen. By, say, 90 degrees. That's all right. Ooh, okay, so look, I'm not going to mess around with this too much now, where you don't want to watch me resizing and rescaling things forever. So you get the idea. We've changed the button. You've done all this before. Now, the important thing is the button behavior. Where do we get the button behavior from? Again, it's on the button itself, and then we have an event handler here. And then the question comes, well, what virtual button input name were we using for replay? Well, I've forgotten. So I'm going to go into the replay system, and I'm going to go down and have a look and see in the main loop. Okay, it's not in the replay system. The replay system looks at the manager, so it's in the manager script. The game manager script is where we change the state, and it's fire 1. Okay, so the game manager reads the cross-platform infant manager and looks for button fire 1 to say whether we're in replay or not. So let's do that. Let's map the replay button. Rather than it firing out to jump, let's make it send out to fire 1. Okay, try that. So left and right, and then if here you go. Now it's got the replay bug we talked about before, which I'm not going to show you how to solve, because I really think at this stage in the course, I'm not going to show you how to solve every single problem. The moment you start trying to make your own games, you are going to run into problems that nobody's there to help you. Well, there will be tons of people there to help you. It's called everybody on the internet and us friendly lot. But you do need to get used to solving problems yourself. But you can see that this button is doing the thing. There you go. So the replay button is in place, which is pretty cool, hey? So we are basically there with what we wanted to do on this video. If you want to build this to Android, then we've got it set. It's literally just a question of saying build and run with an Android attached. And if everything is set up properly on your environment, then this will send this game to the Android machine. And I have run it on my Android, and it does perform just fine. Bear in mind, this bundle identifier is a very common error you'll get. No bundle identifier set up. You change that in your build settings, so file build settings, and then you need to come into player settings, which it's already presented you with on the right-hand side over here, and it is the bundle identifier that you need to change, which is somewhere around here. Yeah, so what it is it's a combination of the default company, which I say Embrace IT, and the product name. I just call it Twin Stick. And those two things together should be all you need for the bundle identifier. Let's try it. The slightly irritating thing about this is it doesn't complain about it until it's done a load of work. But it's okay because it remembers that work. You can see it's picked up from where I left it. Nope, it still doesn't like the bundle identifier. So somewhere in here I have to set up the Bundle identifier, where are we? Other settings, here it is. It's under other settings, okay? So com dot, and then I'm just going to do embrace IT. You can put whatever you like, by the way, dot twin stick. You just need to give it a feasible looking bundle identifier there. And I'm going to build again, and we'll be off to go. So that's just a very common thing that you're going to come across is bundle identifier issues. This where it says save, I'm saving the build so that I don't have to rebuild it in future. You can deploy the .apk file straight to the Android by basically dragging it to the Android file manager if you want to in future. So we'll just let that build and then we'll wind up this video. Nothing else is going to happen. I'm just going to show that this builds to Android, and that's it. In the next video, we're going to be looking at the next thing along, which is level unlocks very briefly. Just show you a really quick way of doing that with player prefs. So it is now pushing the content to my device. So we're good to go. It's on the Android, it's running on the Android, and the touch buttons are working fine. So see you soon.